Welcome to the Agent to Agent podcast, the show that connects you with top real estate professionals across the country to uncover what life is really like in their communities. So whether you are a fellow real estate agent looking for a trusted referral partner or somebody who's thinking about making a move, you'll find insider insights into what life is like in each of these communities to help you feel right at home no matter where you land. So let's jump in. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Agent to Agent podcast. Excited to have you here today because I have my friend Ricardo Burton with the Better Homes and Garden real estate company out of South Carolina on the show today. Ricardo prides himself on relationships, communicating, and just educating his clients and his fellow agents so that he can come to the table to serve his community in the best way possible. So I'm excited to have Ricardo on the show. Let's welcome him. How are you doing, man?
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me. How's everything going?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. I appreciate you jumping on the show with us today. I'm excited to have a conversation with you, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, so I think this is show like number 9, maybe it's number 10. I can't remember. I'm kind of getting, it's not that like the count is that high right now, but I'm just getting lost. I'm getting lost in the numbers, but definitely always love to just start off, man, with, let's talk a little bit about you, my friend. Let's let our audience know, who is Ricardo Burton? How did you get in, as Jason Abrams says, into the best industry in the world?
Yeah, definitely. So again, Ricardo Burton, everyone calls me Ricky. I've been in the real estate world for a little 4 years now. 4 years will be April 1st. So here in the Charleston market, one of the fastest growing cities in America right now, smallest, fastest growing. And just being able to start here, I was at another brokerage and then for 11 months, and then I just hit the floor running. And I was like, I need more. I need more resources. I need more ability to, help others outside of Charleston. So that's when I joined Keller Williams, and I was there for 3 years. And now I'm here at Better Homes and Garden. Of course, like I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what brokerage you're with. You are your logo. You are your brand. So no matter where you are, just make sure that you're doing what it takes in order to be the best and be the best for the people that you're working with. The reason why I started with real estate is because I love working with people. It just comes hand in hand in regards to, my background. I graduated with the Bachelor of Psychology and Psychology, with the Bachelor of Science in Psychology in Massachusetts at Endicott College back in 2006. And I started at IBM, selling software sales, business intelligence, went to Oracle, and then I went to a partner over at IBM, and I started working from home, and we came and visited Charleston, and, it was just a wrap from there. We were here 3 months later.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that the first time we had that conversation. You just kind of like fell in love with the city, like when you're down here on vacation.
Definitely.
Life ended up moving pretty fast on that move down.
Right.
So what got you into real estate, right? So you were with IBM, you were doing, more corporate sales, if you will, and then you decided to make this move down to Charleston, right? And if I remember correctly, you pretty much jumped right into real estate at the same time, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. So, I got here in 2019. I became a real estate agent in 2021. I moved into a master plan community, and there was a lot of my neighbors and friends that, just was complaining about their real estate experience. And I was like, maybe I should get into real estate. Let me check it out. So, I got into it, and I've always been the person that people went to whenever they needed help. I was always the person to welcome people into the new community with open arms, whether they needed muscle to carry, libraries or couches or beds up the stairs and everything. And, I started food trucks here, and, it just rolled from there. So just being able to be that person that people can count on without expecting anything back. I was like, let me get into real estate and see what happens. And, literally just hit the floor running.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know that from our conversations together, you're very much community focused, right? And to your point, like came into the business, it sounds like, because you saw a gap in service and community,
Right.
and you know what, I can really make this better. And I feel like a lot of us as agents get into the business for not the exact same reason, but some type of similar experience, right? There was something missing. We say to ourselves that we can do that better. We can provide a better service to our clients, our community, or whoever it is that we serve. And then we end up in this business. And it's just so crazy how many different avenues that we can go and
Right.
service to our
Right.
community. So the majority, it sounds like a lot of your business comes from that community involvement. I mean, I remember you said you're in this master plan community, but I'm not even going to try and throw the number out there, but I remember you saying that it's like a massive community, right? Where there's like multiple
Right.
neighborhoods and there's like hundreds of homes in each of them. Like what does that layout look like again?
Yeah, so I live in Cane Bay Plantation, which is one of the number 1 and 2 master plan communities, ranked master plan communities between us and Nexton. Now we got Carnes. And in my community alone, after everything is said and done, we'll probably have 13 or 14,000 houses in the subdivision. And then within the subdivision, we have 26 subsections. And so each subsection, we have anywhere between 300 to 600 houses, one of the larger ones. They've been building since before I got here, and it's going to be building for the next 3 to 5 years. It's just, I saw somebody's post the other day. It was like, yeah, there's like Cane Bay and Lindare. It's just like a haven of rentals, or it's not just a haven of rentals. It's where people, they can be a primary homes, they can be investment homes, homes that you can get into and then build equity and then move into your dream home. A lot of people think they're saving for their dream home, but no, you should be saving to start building equity. And then once you start building that equity, you get to the next level and keep on doing as much as you can in order to develop that generational wealth.
Yep. So do you see in this particular master plan community, are there more like first time home buyers that are buying in that? So this is kind of like, I use the term as kind of like the lily pad, right? This is like the first lily pad on your journey to ultimately like where you want to become. Because I feel like a lot of people have, they have this story that they tell themselves that they're looking for the perfect home, right? They're trying to check off all the boxes and they're wanting that on the first home. And it's like, so many times it just seems like, I don't want to say that it's out of reach, but oftentimes I feel like not the most efficient way to get to what your end goal is. To your point, that equity build, if you can kind of bridge that gap over a handful of years and ride that equity ride while still saving, can put you in a much stronger position in the future. I mean, are those the type of like conversations that you find you're having with potential clients and customers?
Yeah, you're having all different types of conversation in regards to, people relocating here. We're a huge military base community in regards to the Coast Guard, Army, Navy nuclear. Everyone's coming here, as well as, we have the Amazon down here. We have BMW, Mercedes. So there's everyone from all different types and places in their lives, whether it's, people moving here because they can live here and work from home. You have the retirement community. You have, military that is getting PCS here and, just being able to know, all right, should we rent for 2 years? Should we buy for 2 years? So it's all about education, because there's a lot of people that don't know what they don't know. And because we're in a huge new construction area, there's a lot of incentives for buyers, whether it's a primary home, investment home, and just as long as we're providing that knowledge and that information to people who have no idea what they don't know, they're not going to know that. So I try to, and that's the reason why I do social media, is because I want to be able to help the people that want to be helped, as well as the people that don't know that this is a possibility for them to own a home and, be able to live that American dream. Because a lot of people here are renting $2,000 to $4,000 a month, and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the conversations is, all right, this is what you're renting for right now. You're moving down here. You want to rent for a year. You want to rent for 2 years, but this is the options that you have if you were to, purchase. There's a lot of new construction that is offering 1.99% or 3.99%.
Wow.
Great buy downs, closing costs. A lot of people are able to go to new construction if they have the credit and they don't have to put anything down. Their closing costs are paid. So there's things out there and incentives out there that sellers are given, not only new construction, but also pre-owned, because they have to compete against new construction.
Yep.
And people are living that American dream earlier than expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the incentives that are coming out of new home builds right now are pretty crazy. There's a lot of opportunity there for sure in that area. You said Canes Bay, right? That's the master plan community.
CANE Bay.
CANE Bay, Cane Bay. So where is that? So 13,000 homes. That's a lot of that's a lot of homes. So like,
Yeah.
I think when people think of Charleston, they kind of know where Charleston is, right? But like, so where is this master plan community in comparison to, say, downtown Charleston?
Yeah, so we are about 45 minutes from downtown Charleston, 55 minutes to all the beaches, whether it's Folly Beach, Sullivan's Island, Isle of Palm, about an hour and 10 away from Keel Island.
Okay.
We're 35 minutes to the airport, the outlets and the joint military base. We're right here along 26 going towards Columbia. So we're, very easy commuting for everyone. It's one of the fastest growing cities in Somerville. So again, Cane Bay is located in Somerville, South Carolina. And it's best place to be in regards to not being in a city, but you're still getting that Charleston lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're a golf cart community. We take our kids to school on golf carts. We go to restaurants and, all hobbies and everything on golf carts. So, we're on golf carts going anywhere between 3 to 5 miles. So, yeah.
That's awesome. The only time I find myself on a golf cart is on a golf course. Unfortunately, we've got a few like golf cart districts in the area down here, but they're definitely not 13,000 homes worth, 26, smaller things worth. So, a little bit envious there, because I feel like that would just be fun. Kids and stuff, you could probably take them on a golf cart and they would just like love every minute of that.
Oh, you live in the happiest place on earth. So
I do. That is true. I'm at the happiest place on earth way too much. I was just there this past weekend. Actually, I'm going back this upcoming weekend. They've got like, I guess it's like it's a food and wine festival, like concert tours or something. So we just went and saw New Found Glory. I don't know if you know who New Found Glory is. They're like an old punk rock band from like early 2000s, late 1990s. It's the first band I ever went and saw in concert. So it was super nostalgic to go back and see them this past weekend. So it was very exciting. So thank you, House of Mouse, for that wonderful opportunity.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But so what would you say is like your favorite, what do you enjoy most about being in the real estate business, right? Is it, everything from the service that you're able to provide your clients, the freedoms or the opportunities it provides your family? Like, just, I feel like there's so many directions that you can go, but like, what do you really appreciate about the business that you have, that you find yourself in?
I mean, just getting paid to make people's days, to make them smiles. For each home, you're creating a smile. For each home, you're creating a tradition of generational wealth. I go to lunch, I go to dinners, and my wife is like, must be nice. And I'm just like, it's all about relationships. That's all I've been doing, my whole life. I've been away from home since I was 14. So I've created relationships since, I knew how to talk and knew how to, be out alone. So I went to an educational program called A Better Chance that took inner city students out of the inner cities and brought them to better educated areas. So I was in a home of 7 other students, myself from Boston, you know, I had a brother from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Dayton, Ohio, Gary, Indiana, Maryland, Cleveland, New York, and we all lived in a family, and as a family in a Victorian home in the center of Amherst, Massachusetts, so over by UMass and all that, Amherst College, and just being able to, it's all about time management. So, and it's just the same thing as real estate. We were all scholar athletes. Just being able to manage your time and do sports and get your work done. So it's the same thing in regards to real estate. Being able to time block, being able to get in contact and pipeline and forecasting, and just being able to educate people that are looking for help, and even educating people that don't think that they're looking for help. So
Right.
it's just, and then just being able to when my daughter is in gymnastics, competing heavily. My son is doing travel baseball, playing football for the middle school, and just being able to go to their games without having to call out of work and work for somebody else, and doing biweekly, partner meetings and team meetings, and forecasting and working for somebody else. I'm like, this is the best thing to do right here, is working for yourself and having
Yeah.
to wake up every day and say, I'm doing this for my family, not living paycheck to paycheck, which 76% of people in the world are doing. And, just being able to get out there and create, experiences and memories with not only your clients, but also, prospective clients and other agents, just being able, like, a lot of agents focus on trying to find clients, but they're not trying to find the relationships of the agents that's going to be on the other side. And that's what I love to do, getting out there, going to lunch and meeting with lenders and roofers and, all these people that are able to help you and your family, as well as other families, all at the same time.
Right. So it sounds like you're pretty big on not just networking, just with agents like outside of your market, but also those key allied resources, if you will, whether that's agents on the other side of the transaction that you may be working with in your local market, and or those vendors who take some part in either the home sale and purchase transaction, or just those people that people kind of just need, regardless of whether or not they're buying or selling real estate. But to your point, like a roofer, the plumber, like all of these key tradespeople.
Right.
So do you kind of have like, hey, I want to do so many of these a week with so many people a week, right? Or is it more just kind of like you're focused on, hey, I have these relationships, I'm just kind of touching base with these relationships, and then, what meetings come out of these touch points is really kind of what sets your calendar? Or are you very purposeful around who you're meeting, when you're meeting them, and how you're meeting them?
I'm very purposeful when I'm meeting somebody, but most of the time it's not even about real estate. It's just, how you doing? How's your family doing? What's going on? Like, I don't tell people, oh, I'm a real estate agent. I'm not going around with my name tag as much as I should. My name is, it's word of mouth. It's, I've done this, help this person out before they were looking for homes. I helped this person out with their business. I, go to restaurants and I do reviews just to, help other people out. So you doing good for others, you'll get everything coming back tenfold. So, it's just being authentic to who you are and how you could help people, versus I need to go talk to 10 people in order to let them know that I'm in real estate.
Right.
That conversation will come later on when you, have those forward conversations. How's the family doing? What opportunities are you working on right now? What are the dreams that you have? And, just building that rapport with everybody, it's just, it just comes later on. So am I saying, all right, I need to go do this and, talk to this many people? No, it just come naturally, honestly. And I think and people see that, real estate is can be a dog eat dog world, but if people are seeing you as who you are and you being authentic and being able to help people out when they're going through life changes, whether it's divorces, people getting married and looking to upgrade or downgrade, people deploying so they need to go elsewhere, or their family wants to move closer, that's people just hit me up like out of nowhere, just because I've been in the game for 4 years, and it's just, I'm not chasing money, just like we're not chasing the market when we're listing homes. So it's just, you have to just, I'm all about analytics and data and just be able to help out as many people as possible, as authentic as possible.
I love that. I think I can't say that I love that anymore. I feel like I have the same mindset, and it's very interesting. I'm sure you know James Shaw.
On the phone with him every morning.
Man, so you probably heard him talk about, I just saw it on like one of his reel clips earlier, but he had made mention, talking about lead generating, right? When we make phone calls, like, you're thinking about it wrong if you're lead generating for an appointment. He's like, if you call and you set an appointment, that's not lead generating. That's called luck. Like, lead generating is having the conversations, just like you were talking about, having the conversations, building the rapport, getting to know these people, and then receiving the inbound call that says, hey, Ricardo, we're interested in considering moving right now. We need to upgrade or we need to downgrade. We wanted to know if you'd be willing to help. Right. That's the lead generation. It's everything that preceded before that helps generate that lead through relationships and value-driven opportunities to the people who we care about the most.
Yeah, it's the work you put in to the prior years. It's the relationships that you built in the prior years, and people feel that you are authentic. People feel that you are there to help them out. And, I talked to James, we're on the pivot shift call every morning. Mm-hmm. We're on Tuesday and the Wednesday calls for Inspire. I'm actually going to be with them down at Advance in Tampa next month. We're going to the Tampa Bay and Patriots game together. We're celebrating Donnie Gilbert's birthday down there. And she's up in Connecticut. And, if you're not sitting there talking to your sphere of influence and your referral partners every day and learning what other agents are going through, in their markets, and seeing how, Jack Smith is doing down there in Florida, how, Bree Pittman Vaughn III is up in Charlotte, and, Orly, everyone is, doing their thing. And, my success doesn't mean that what my numbers is, it's not numbers. It's about getting to know the people. Who can you help? Who can I help in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, Vermont, California, and Texas? It's not just I can help people in Charleston. I can help people in Orlando, so, just being able to, learn every day, because you can't learn enough. There's always something that we can learn from people that just started. We can learn from people that's been doing it for 20 years, and vice versa. So, you always got to learn. There's always something to, be educated on, no matter what type of environment and, market you're in.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself, my man. Couldn't have said it better. So a little bit about your market, right? So you mentioned, connecting with agents and stuff, and just people outside of your market, understanding, the challenges that they may be having or what they're experiencing and stuff in their market and in their communities. So like, what is your community? What does your market look like up there right now? Are you seeing kind of similar challenges over and over, or just like, what does that look like in today's market for you?
Yeah, so Charleston is a different market than a lot of the other markets, being that it's the #1 relocation spot in America right now, because of the all year round weather, because of, it's a historic, location. We're on the water. You came down on the water, and you can see just from us being on a boat for that 45 minutes, the history, having the aquarium, having, things that are going down over by the waterfront. We can go to all the restaurants on the water. Just being able to see the growth from when I got here almost 7 years ago. And it's just still growing. There's 30 new people moving to Charleston every day. And, the landscape is changing in regards to, whether you're in a flood X zone or you're in a no flood zone or, so just being able to, there's a lot of opportunity for investors, whether it's short-term rental, it's very restricted down here, but also, Charleston it just depends on what part of Charleston, whether you want to be downtown Charleston, whether you want to be on the beach, over in Folly Beach, Isle of Palm, or if you want to be outside of Charleston in the greater Charleston area, whether it's Somerville, Holly Hill, going up 26 towards Columbia.
Yeah.
There's all different price points for everybody. So that's why it's so, the cost of living is lower here than it is up in everyone coming from New York and Jersey and Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So, just being able to have all the Southern architecture and, Charleston is the holy city. Everyone that visits here ends up here at some point in time later on.
That's so funny. My sister-in-law lives up there, and we visit like once, maybe twice.
Daniel Island, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if I haven't, my wife's a little biased because her twin sister's up there, but we had conversations, right? And we even talked about this on the boat when we were there a couple of months ago. It's like, it's a place that we would consider moving to and or getting, that secondary home to have a place to kind of go and escape. So I can echo that. I think Charleston's a wonderful city.
Yeah.
Wonderful
definitely,
place.
Definitely. I never thought I'd move to the South, and I got down here and I'm like, oh wow. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm further south than you. And arguably you're more in the South than I am. We've got the melting pot of the Panhandle.
Oh yeah.
Down here. So different type of South for sure.
Right.
What are some of your favorite, as we kind of wrap up here, what are some of your favorite places in the Charleston area? Like, so for people who are visiting or maybe considering moving, like what are some of the spots that they should know about or consider visiting when they come down?
Yeah, definitely. Mount Pleasant, my best place, my recruiting area for people to come move down and get closer to me is Shem Creek. Just having food, dinner on the water, seeing all the dolphins, the pelicans, even somebody got a shark the other day on accident. So Shem Creek and Mount Pleasant, being able to go look at the angel oak tree, being able to go, to Isle of Palm, the private beaches, not private beach, but the state park. Folly Beach is a really good tourist area that you have food and you have, restaurants and bars, being able to see all the different homes on the water. Let's see what else. My phone's ringing right now. Hang that up. The African American Museum is down here now. That's been here for about 3 years.
Is that in the downtown Charleston area?
Yeah. So, and one fun fact is that a lot of people don't know that Charleston is a sister city of Barbados, which is where my family's from. So, where else? Just the food in general, going downtown to the, Market Street, going down to, see the pineapple fountain.
That's cool. I have seen that.
Yeah. There's so many different things, going down to see Rainbow Row. I can go on and on in regards to what Charleston has to offer.
Yeah. In a nutshell, if you haven't been, you just need to go.
Definitely.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. So part of this podcast too is getting agents accustomed and, introduced to other agents they may or may not know and in cities that they may or may not be familiar with. So when we talk about working in tandem from a professional relationship, agent to agent. Like, what's important to you in agents that you do business with outside of your market? And what are some of the things that that they expect of you, right? Like, how do you hold yourself in that relationship? Love to talk a little bit about that with you.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody that I work with is family, and I'm not just saying that just to say that. It's just being able to, my damn dogs, just being able to have those conversations and talk to as many agents as you can. If I'm passing a, referral to you, I'm warmly introducing you to them. I'm warmly making sure that this person is who I've ate with, this person's who I've been out with, trained with. Your morals are the same thing as mine, and just being able to, have a conversation with somebody that it's not just about business. And just because I've had that with you, that don't mean that I'm sending you the business. This person that's sending me the business, and we have so many different options that we can pass our referrals to. But that's one of them. Like, if I pass somebody to you, I'm still representing in that, and
Absolutely.
anybody to ruin my relationships with the person that I pass you to. So I'm gonna make sure I'm not just passing you just to somebody just because they're in Nashville. I'm gonna have a relationship with that person, and they're gonna be representing you just as if I was there.
Yeah. They become an extension of yourself, right? And it's kind of like, your word, right? It's a reflection.
Yeah.
It's a reflection on you. So, and I think that, I think that's an underlying key benefit of just building those relationships outside of the business with other agents in the market, because you get to know a person for the person.
Exactly.
And understand the business that they do.
Right.
And that's a better match. And you can really match people that way, as opposed to like, hey, I know this person works in this market. I don't really know anybody else in this market. So I'm just going to make the introduction here.
Yeah.
And there could be nothing wrong with that. It could be a great relationship. It could be a great transaction and everything. And it could not,
Right.
which is the, the importance of building relationships with, great people all across the country, not just in real estate, but just back to what you were saying, relationships across everybody who's in your world.
Exactly. Yeah. Just being able to, look them up, Google me, Google the next person, go and look at their social media presence, and just see what's going on. If you can say, all right, this person knows what they're doing, they're educational, they are, closing the deals, they show empathy in regards to their clients getting in homes and everything. They know the process.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I would want to do if I was in that area and be able to help you out. So it's just all about connecting everyone that, shows love for the game just as much as you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, awesome, man. Well, Ricardo, I appreciate you jumping on the show with me. And very much enjoyed the conversation. I feel like we know each other a little bit, got to know you a little bit more here on the podcast too. So I'm excited for the audience and our viewers to get to know you a little bit more as well. So speaking of that, what would you like to leave our viewers with, I guess, first of all? Is there a last tidbit, a last bit of advice that you'd just like to leave our viewers with before we jump off?
Yeah, just be able to, speak with everybody you can, make as many relationships as you can, and, just, be authentic with yourself, be authentic with, the other people that you want to work with, and, just have an open mind of where you want to be in the next 1 to 2 years, and, find as many people as you can in order to get you to where you want to be, as well as get them to where they want to be. It's all about give and take, and, just love everybody.
Awesome, man. Amazing. I love that. And where can people connect with you? So if there's an agent out there who needs a referral partner in the Charleston area, or if, sometimes we might even have somebody who's considering moving into the area. So if they need a professional in the area, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you and get connected with you?
Yeah, definitely on all social media platforms. Ricky Agent 843. That's RICKY Agent 843. 843 is the area code of Charleston, and just shoot me out.
Awesome, man. Well, fantastic, buddy. I appreciate you jumping on the show. Great conversation. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Agent podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Yeah. On the next one. Man, I got a little tongue-tied there, buddy. This is how you know it's genuine and real.
Always.
Thanks for tuning in to the Agent to Agent podcast, where we connect you with the people and the places that help make moving feel easier. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to follow along for insider looks at communities across the country. And connect with me if you'd like help getting connected with a trusted agent, no matter where life takes you. We'll see you next time.